Good evening, Bahamas. On the broadcast tonight. A former Progressive Liberal Party candidate says government should not get involved in the Baha Mar deal. Plus, new aviation security measures. Tonight, we take a look at how travelers will be impacted. And Bank of the Bahamas makes donations towards summer camps.
Our news is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive.
Welcome to our news, the weekend edition, and thanks for joining us. I'm Andrew Knowles. Former Cabinet Minister Alfred Sears is weighing in on Baha Mar. In a recent interview with our news, Sears says he shares the sentiments of former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham when he said government should not get involved in the Baha Mar deal.
Well, first of all, commercial relations really ought not to be interfered with by the government. When one in a private enterprise economy, you have commercial relations, and certainly we also, that must take its course. If there is any irregularity, then the court is a forum in which to resolve that.
Former Baha Mar developer Sakas Ismerlian recently called on the Minister administration to place a moratorium on the completion of the sale of the multi-billion-dollar resort. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has already said his government has no plans on getting involved. It's a move Sears believes is in the best interest of the country.
Certainly, it is not the prerogative of the government to determine. The government really needs to serve as an regulator of the economy, and certainly I invite all prospective investors to we should encourage to invest in economic opportunities within the country. But
just last week, Exuma and Ragged Island MP Chester Cooper recommended the government ignore Ismerlian's request and find something else in the country for him to invest in. Sears says while foreign investment is good, he's more concerned about Bahamians being given opportunities to invest in their country.
I'm especially concerned about Bahamian entrepreneurs. We must do more to incentivize, to encourage, and to facilitate Bahamian entrepreneurs, because at the end of the day, the foreign investors in the Bahamas for comparative advantage. And when that comparative advantage could be obtained elsewhere, they will leave the Bahamian entrepreneurs on the other side. This is home. They represent a stable economic presence, and therefore more should be done to facilitate Bahamian ownership.
New global aviation security requirements will be rolled out on all commercial flights to the United States beginning on Tuesday, July 18th. That just so happens to fall during one of the busiest travel periods locally, where Lynden Pinling International Airport is bracing for possible longer wait times for passengers facing increased security screening. Our Christina McNeil takes a closer look at what you can expect the next time you travel.
It's one of the busiest travel periods of the year for Bahamians traveling domestically and internationally, and for tourists visiting our shores. But come Tuesday, wait times at the country's top hub may increase as the Bahamas joins 104 other countries around the world, introducing new security measures in line with the United States Department of Homeland Security's new protocols. But Nassau Airport Development Company Vice President of Marketing and Commercial Development Jan Knowles says Lynden Pinling International Airport is ready.
Certainly ready to process passengers using the new screening method. This begins on Tuesday, the 18th of July.
Passengers may see a slight increase in wait times for security screening, with heightened screening for personal electronic devices larger than a cell phone.
Persons with laptops, tablets, or anything that's bigger than a cell phone that could potentially be swabbed for explosives. And so from that standpoint, you could realize that that will take a little bit of time. You want, if you're traveling with your electronic devices. Certainly, it could be searched. It may not necessarily happen, but it certainly could be. The possibility is there. And also, if it's in your checked luggage, it could potentially be searched also.
Knowles says passengers can avoid long wait times by arriving at the airport 3 hours before flight time, but that won't apply to those flying out between 6 and 6:30 a.m.
The airport itself opens at 4 a.m. In addition to that, most airlines start their check-in process at 4:30, and also USCBP, they open at 5:15. So for a 6 a.m. flight, you don't necessarily have to be here at 3 a.m., but certainly you want to come in enough time, given the time periods. We open at 4, check-in starts at 4:30. You want to come in time just in case there's a little bit of a lag.
Knowles says they want passengers to be patient and prepared as the new measures are rolled out. The changes fall under the purview of the Airport Authority. Reporting for our news, I'm Christina McNeil.
Thanks, Christina. In other news this evening, a man was found dead this morning on a road off Taylor Street, Nassau Village. The man's body was discovered shortly after 4 a.m. Saturday with injuries to the body. Now, police say an autopsy will be performed to determine the exact cause of death. And while they are investigating the circumstances surrounding the man's death, they are appealing to anyone with information on the incident to contact them. Meantime, yet another corrections officer has been arrested for drug possession. Officers of the Drug Enforcement Unit took a 24-year-old corrections officer from the Bahamas Department of Corrections into custody yesterday following the seizure of a quantity of dangerous drugs at his Sunset Park residence. Now, when officers searched the home, that's where they discovered just over 2 ounces of marijuana. The officer was taken into custody and is expected to appear in court early next week to be formally charged. And we'll take a break here, but still ahead tonight. The Organization for Responsible Governments promotes freedom schools. That story and more when our news returns.